Brain gear to keep you charged?
Exactly. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to grab myself some brain gear. The world's first brain enhancement meal supplement.
Wait, is this isn't intermediate, this is amateur, right? Steven? This is amateur? All right, this is intermediate.
Now, I don't know what it was, but that was a 6 stock by Velociraptor, the Marth player.
For sure. I think something super cool about this tournament is that everyone who's in pools goes to a bracket of people that are your skill level. Mm-hmm. So top 2 pro bracket, next 2 intermediate, after that amateur, and then buster bracket.
And buster instead of 2 is actually 3.
3,
is
okay.
what I found out.
Yeah. So because everything's
because
9 pools.
Yeah, there's 9 players.
So everybody goes to a pool, which is awesome. That's actually super cool for people who come out and maybe aren't, playing the game 6 years.
And there are prizes for every skill level, is what I actually found out this morning. I didn't even know that.
That's for sure.
Which is fantastic.
Which is I've heard some salt. Let me hear your opinion on this. For someone who made pro bracket, right? Mm-hmm. But they're not axe level good, and they lose. Let's say they get like 17th, 25th. Do you think it's okay that they don't get anything, but the winner of intermediate does?
So here are my thoughts on that. I talked to Steven this morning. I'm staying with Jem, one of the head TOs of this event.
Sure.
And I know for a fact, even though it is nice that, some prizes are being given out to the intermediate and amateur brackets, I know that they're not exactly super nice prizes. So it's not like the people who are playing in pro bracket are really missing out on anything too crazy. It's not like, I know for a fact that it's not cash that any of the
non-cash prizes.
Yeah. The only cash prizes are coming from the pro bracket.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is that if you're somebody if you're somebody who's playing on the level that you're trying to get into the pro bracket, like, what are your priorities there if you're, more concerned about, oh, these people are getting a free bottle of brain gear,
Sure.
Because that's the kind of prizes we're talking about. Not to discredit what this bracket is about, because, this is great that players of this skill level are getting, that extra practice being in bracket, because a big complaint that we get from a lot of players at tournaments like that is that, I play 2 matches and I'm done.
All about getting better.
Exactly.
This Marth is looking pretty fine. Messing up some edge guards, though. I think the Marth doesn't know exactly the length of Fox's Firefox. He could be
closing it out, and he could be capitalizing in a lot more efficient ways that I really don't see him doing right now. That was a very high drill on Chardlos' shield.
Chardlos.
That's a big problem that I see a lot of Foxes go for. They know the drill shine works, they know it's a great option, but when you just aimlessly go in and try to hit it on shield, sometimes you do it too high, or if you're coming off of a platform it's too high. In that case, it's so easy for the Marth to just grab you and start these incredible combos that Marth has on Spaceys off of grabs.
You're actually so right about that. You know how I know?
How?
I play Fox, a Buster Fox religiously, and I am incapable of short hopping, and it really limits my options. There's not as much you can. Ooh, he read the roll.
I mean, you know how short hopping is a good option? Short hopping is something that is actually, it's not in the
angle.
Oh, the angles. But Chardlos still closes that out. It's not in the Melee instruction guide, but it's on the online version that if you went onto Nintendo's website, like back in 2001, the online version actually talks about short hopping. And it's like, if Nintendo is telling you, hey, this is an option, you should use it because it's good.
Yeah.
In a game that they're pretty ambiguous about telling you the great things that you have in it, that's a damn good option.
For sure. So what I'm seeing here is 2 people playing the beautiful game of Melee who might not have been playing that long. And I say that because they both made good reads.
Yeah.
Fox has read Marth rolling in. Ooh. Fox has read Marth rolling in. Marth has read Fox recovering with up B. But they don't know the spacing because they clearly haven't played the opposite character enough.
So I'm going to agree with you, but then I'm going to give you a different reason for why I see that same thing. They're going for things that work. They're going for things that are good. They're not going for things that make you go, why would you pick that option playing as your character against the character you're playing against? They're playing everything, I guess, right
Nice.
in a sense, that they're looking for the right things, but it's that presence of mind that I talked about a little bit earlier, that presence of mind of seeing the game as a whole, of seeing what your opponent's doing and choosing your decisions based on what you're seeing.
You see and you choose. I feel what you're saying.
And a lot of newer players, they, like I talked about earlier with the high drills on shield, they go for what works. They go for maybe what works against their friends that they play against. They go for what works against all the people in their community. But when you get to a big tournament like this, sometimes things happen that aren't exactly by the book, and you need to be able to play through that and figure out, you know, what exactly is it that's going on in this match specifically.
That's the sickest new player strat, is when you run by your opponent and then turn around and grab them. Sick new player strat.
That's kind of like the Tafo, when you're playing Sheik and you run past them and then forward smash in the other direction.
Yeah. For sure. Most people do not read the run by at low levels. Most people are not reading that. Marth definitely low level player, mid level player hero. For sure.
Now, people always talk about, since we're on this, fat tipper that is going to convert. Now, since we're on this topic of talking about low level versus high level play, a lot of something that I hear very frequently is that, oh, you know, Fox is so difficult, Fox is a very technical character, whatever. I truly believe that Fox, played at an intermediate level like we're watching right now, isn't really the trickiest character. He has very good tools and pretty simple tools to implement. His nair is good, his back air is good, his tilts are good. You figure out what your good moves are and you implement those in situations that you,
Good job, Chardlos. I hear you, Apple. I hear what you're saying. You're saying Fox is technical, blah, 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 but even at a lower level, you can still play the character well.
Exactly.
I hear you, but I don't think you can utilize the tools well enough as newer Marth players, newer Sheik players, newer Puff players, who don't have to learn how to wave dash out of shield and break their fingers doing it.
That is true.
They can do it their first day.
That is true. But to me, it almost feels like you almost start a tier list discussion there, where you start to talk about, oh, you know, this player's or this character's toolkit, blah, 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 versus this character's toolkit.
There should be 5 tier lists.
What are those 5 tier lists?
Tier list for people at the top of the top.
Okay.
The tip. It's an iceberg, all right? People at the, not an iceberg, it's like a little pyramid. People at the top, and then it keeps going down. You got godlike, pro-like, intermediate, amateur, newbie.
Okay.
Buster.
Okay.
I think there should be, because I think it's different. I think it's totally different.
It is definitely different.
I think Armada's Fox plays a lot different than the Fox we just saw. Utilizes the tools a lot differently. That's not the same Fox.
Of course, it's not that it's a different character, but it's different enough in execution that the tools aren't equivalent. You're not using equivalent tools as a new Fox player that Armada is using, because especially if you watch like
keep going.
Especially if you watch like Armada versus PPMD, Armada versus Mango, Armada's Fox has things that he uses specifically for those players.
Sure.
So if you're a new player, you don't want to be studying, Armada's Fox versus Mango's Fox, because Armada is playing Mango.
Definitely
and
also
Mango
look at
is
footage at
playing
your level
Armada. I honestly think if you're a new player trying to improve, watch like videos of top players such as Armada, Mango, Leffen versus lower level players and see what they're doing that's destroying other people, because that's going to give you the best insight onto what your character's best options and matchups are. So what was that we saw in chat? What is your opinion on
Ninja
Marth?
Games asking about Marth, and again, as I said, I think it depends on the level of play. I think at the highest level of play, the peak level, I think Marth is pretty damn good. I think Marth is top 2, not top 3. I think at the pro level, like Pew 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 to Ken level, I think Marth's a little worse. A little bit worse.